Okay, so in the creative world, things are really changing, fast. We're seeing this massive shift away from traditional photo shoots towards something totally new, AI-powered prompt shoots. And this leap, it brings this incredible opportunity, but also a huge new challenge for brands, which leads us to the big question.
So this is the big question on everyone's mind, especially if you're in fashion or luxury, where your visuals are literally everything. How do you use this amazing new AI tech to represent different bodies, different skin tones, different ages, in a way that feels real, without it feeling fake, or even worse, messing with the soul of your brand, the identity you've worked so hard to build?
And that right there, that's the real tug of war here. On one side, you have the promise of AI, which is basically limitless diversity. I mean, you're no longer limited by who can physically make it to a photo shoot. But on the other side, there's this massive pitfall, the danger of slipping into what you could call automated tokenism. Where diversity is just a box you check, not something you actually believe in. All right, so let's break this down. What does it actually look like when things go wrong? When these well-intentioned efforts just don't land right in an AI workflow? We're calling this the AI diversity trap, and honestly, it's way too easy to fall into.
You've probably seen these signs before. First up, you get the one-and-done diverse model. Just one plus-size model in a sea of standard sizes, or one model with darker skin doing all the heavy lifting for an entire campaign. Then there's the quality issue. The main model looks amazing, perfect lighting, and the diverse models, they kind of look like an afterthought. Third, and this one is pretty bad, you get these stereotyped looks, like diversity just means swapping a skin tone on the exact same face. And finally, there's zero continuity. A model shows up once and you never see them again. It just feels like a stunt, right? Not a real brand value.
And look, don't fool yourself into thinking this is just a PR thing. This goes way beyond that. This hits you where it hurts, the bottom line. It's a conversion issue. Why? Because people are way more likely to buy from a brand when they feel like they are truly seen and represented. And it's not just about getting that first sale. It's also a retention issue. You build real customer loyalty when people see themselves reflected in your brand's world consistently, over and over again. It makes them feel like they're part of your world, that they belong. And lastly, and this is a big one, especially if you're in the luxury space, it is a brand equity issue. Because let's be honest, lazy or tokenistic diversity just looks cheap. And a brand that looks cheap can't charge premium prices. Real luxury is all about the craft, the details, the intention behind it all.
Okay, so we know the trap exists. How in the world do we avoid it? Well, the solution starts with having a playbook. And the very first move is this. You gotta stop just hitting generate on random faces. Instead, you need to start building a virtual cast with a really clear blueprint for what inclusion means to you.
And the core tool to do this is what we're calling a diversity palette. Just think of it like an old-school casting brief, but built for AI. It's your permanent guide, your roster that defines the specific range of human experience you are committed to showing. And this is a perfect example of what that actually looks like. See, you're not just vaguely saying, we want diversity. You are literally mapping it out. You're making conscious decisions to represent a spectrum of body types, a full range of skin tones, different ages. Suddenly, your goals aren't just vague ideas. They're measurable. They're intentional. So once you have that palette, you can create what are called model families. These are basically reoccurring virtual people. Instead of generating a brand new face for every single picture, you build a consistent cast of characters that show up again and again. This is how your audience starts to build real familiarity and trust with your brand's world. All right, so you've got your cast. What's next? Well, the next big hurdle is making sure they all feel like they belong to your brand. This is all about unifying the aesthetic and creating that unmistakable brand signature. And listen, this is probably the most important thing to get right here. Brand cohesion does not mean making everyone look identical. It comes from the vibe, the artistic signature you wrap around them, your lighting style, your color grading, how you frame your shots, your whole philosophy on retouching. So here's a super simple checklist to help you nail that signature look. 1. Use the same house lighting for every single model. 2. Your retouching style has to be consistent. You can't oversmooth one person's skin and leave another's totally raw. And 3. Keep your backgrounds and your sets consistent within a collection. This brings me to a really cool, powerful gut check I want you to try. It's called the grayscale test. Take your images, turn them black and white, and imagine you can't see the faces. Do they still feel like they came from your brand? If you can still say, yep, that's our brand, then you've nailed it. That's visual cohesion. All right, let's get into the final part of the playbook,
This is all about execution. You've got the cast, you've got the look and feel. So how do you actually use this cast in a way that feels real and has an impact?
Here is the absolute key to making this work. Your diversity can't just live in the fancy 20% of your marketing, the big hero campaigns. It has to be woven into the other 80%. I'm talking about your product pages, your catalog shots. That's where customers are actually making decisions. And that's where seeing yourself really matters.
And the best part is, you can make this easy by turning it into simple rules for your team. Like rule number 1, every big collection features at least 3 of our model families. Done. Another one, our best-selling items are always shown on multiple body types. And this is critical. Every single body, every person gets the same A-list treatment. Same amazing lighting, same powerful posing, same glamour. No exceptions.
Now, while you're doing all this, you have to be super careful to avoid falling into stereotype traps. That means not just putting certain colors on certain skin tones or making some body types look sexy while others are made to look plain. The goal here is what we can call equitable creativity. It means every single person in your virtual cast gets a shot at the hero looks, the really cool, aspirational stuff.
And from a pure text standpoint, you've got to set up some guardrails. So instead of a lazy prompt like a diverse model, you get specific. A plus-sized model with deep ground skin and type 4 curls. And then you back that up with a QA checklist to make sure skin tones look rich and accurate and that body proportions always feel realistic.
So when you bring all of this together, the intentional cast, the unified aesthetic, and the fair, equitable deployment, you land on this really powerful idea that doing inclusion this thoughtfully, that is the new definition of luxury.
And that, right there, is the big payoff. When you put this much thought into it, your brand starts to feel more human. Yeah, even with virtual models. It feels more luxurious because that kind of intention screams quality and craftsmanship. And at the end of the day, it feels more relevant because way more people can finally see a piece of themselves in your story.
So if there's just one thing you remember from all this, please let it be this. Doing this right isn't about spinning some randomized ethnicity wheel and just hoping for the best. It's about being an architect. It's about the deliberate, creative act of building a world, of building a family that truly reflects who your customers are.
And that really leaves us with one last question for anyone diving into this new world. Your models might be made by a machine, but as a result of all the choices you make, does your brand actually end up feeling more human? And the answer, if you do this right, can be, and it really should be, a resounding yes.